Imagine being almost 4 years into a career in content creation and using career in almost the loosest terms, because it's not really your career, it's not really your job, it's not really what your main source of income or anything, but you like to call yourself a content creator. You like to consider it a hobby. It's sort of a badge of honor that you wear. It's something that you're proud of. It's part of what makes you you. It's certainly an outlet. Uh, it's certainly something that you look forward to doing at the end of the day. Maybe not every day. Maybe there are some days where you look at a task of making a video or making a post about something. People are looking for your reaction to things, and you feel like you should probably talk about it or something like that. And you feel that's sort of a pressure, and this hobby that was once a fun thing is sort of becoming a job, something that you did not really want it to be. You wanted it to be a hobby. Well, imagine that you're realizing that you want to be doing that more often. You want to sort of feel that pressure. You sort of want to learn to thrive in that pressure. You want to be more accepting of that pressure. But at the same time, you're a tad scared of that pressure. How do you perceive how you're going to handle it? Are you going to just sort of dive in and say, I'm going to take this on? Or do you sort of just flounder and say, oh, I might do this, I might do that? And keep in mind, there is not necessarily a whole lot of people pushing you toward doing certain things. You have a very small audience of very dedicated people who you're very, very thankful for having in your life. You've taken a lot of your career from other people, from a thematic point of view, from sheer content, from basically copying content ideas from what you enjoy, making your own career sort of this blend of all these things that you find interesting from other people. Will you continue to find these things interesting? Will you continue to seek this type of content if you're trying to apply more pressure to yourself? Imagine being someone who not too long ago thought with these wild dreams that they might have this opportunity within esports, within a video game that you held dear. Out of sheer sort of competitive nature, you might have thought that this sort of could go farther, when in reality, you're sort of getting up there in age. You're closer to 30 than you are 20, certainly, and that field is might not necessarily be best for you, and your life situation at the time certainly doesn't make that career path easier. You know that these are sort of excuses. You know that these are sort of crutches that you're giving yourself, reasons as to why you're not as good as other people, as your friends and teammates and stuff like that. So you sort of abandon that idea. You are trying to still establish that identity, that self-worth, that self-awareness of what you really want to do. What is it that you want to do? Because you're still in a job that's not necessarily dead end. You're fortunate enough to have it. You're thankful to have it for sure. But it's that sort of daily grind of being thankful for something, but is it really what I want to be doing? Do I want my hobby to eventually become the thing that I'm going to and spending most of my time doing every day? That's a risk. That's a risky thing. And it's scary. Now, you're not necessarily making any big rash changes at the moment. You're sort of just ping-ponging around ideas in your head. You have a myriad of hobbies still that you find interesting. You love what you have now. It would be nice for it to expand. And it's not necessarily daunting, the idea, this concept that it won't expand. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will. But you want to put forward a solid effort. You want to see what you can do with it. Now, there are a lot of options that you can go with this. Do you seek out ways to improve your content? Do you completely change your content style? Do you stop adopting ideas from other places, other people, other things, other avenues, or something like that? Do you push for creativity in a world where creativity may be dead? Or are you thinking too much? Should you just sort of go with the flow, see how things are going, honestly check with your audience and see what they would want, stick to sort of what's successful, but then of course is what's successful, is talking about what's successful beneficial for you? Is it something that you necessarily want to do? Is it something that you really want to continue doing? Is it something that you could see yourself full throttle in? Or is it something that you might find cringy in like 6 months and you're making content that you didn't think you would ever be making for the sake of getting attention from maybe not necessarily the crowd that you were looking for? Is any crowd worth it? Is any audience worth it? That's I think an age-old question. Is what are you creating things for? Are you creating things just for you? Or are you creating things for the viewer? Can you find a balance in between them? Does that balance exist? How do you find that balance? All of these things, very, very, very frustrating. Very, they stick in your mind almost every day, and you don't want to necessarily use the word stressful, because you consider yourself someone who likes to think of others, and there certainly are people who are struggling far more than you, especially in these times. You are fortunate for many things. You are fortunate to have a job. You are fortunate to have this avenue of expression to make content, and you're confident enough to sit in front of a camera and talk about what you're interested in. You are somewhat cognizant of your own ideals and what you think, and your taste, and what you think you like, what you think you don't like, what you think your audience might be into. You try to break through your own mold of not necessarily being a very personable person. You consider yourself someone not necessarily good at making friends and keeping friends. Keeping in touch with people was a struggle. And you sort of blame yourself for that, because you don't always make the efforts to stay in contact with people. Whether it be over the internet, whether it be in person, never necessarily been your strong suit. So, going forward, you realize you're very blessed of a lot of things. You're very fortunate that you can afford certain things. You are making money. People are also paying attention to your content, albeit not necessarily the hugest quantity of people out there, but it's the quality of people that you have achieved. You have achieved a very good quality of audience. Now, it'd be nice to expand that audience for sure. But what will that take? Is the age-old question. What sacrifices will have to be made in order to expand this adequate audience? And are you thinking way too much into this? Is it really not as hard as you're making it seem? Should you just enjoy things? Should you just stick to what you enjoy in life? Should these things that you just find enjoyable just stick to being fun? Or do you continue to go down the path of trying to make what seems like the only consistent activity that isn't necessarily a competition? Should that even be a competition? Do you keep trying to make it a competition? Do you keep trying to be better than someone? Some mystery content creator out in the world that you're trying to sort of garner attention from over them? Is that what you're trying to do? Is that what you're subconsciously trying to do? When in reality, you're just trying to share your love for things and talk about things with people because those things interest you immensely. And along the way, you make a whole bunch of friends who are enjoying the same things. Are those people interested in you for you, or a persona that you play online? Can you blend those things together into one cohesive, honest person? You like to think that you've done that. And on this journey of trying to be more and do more, you really hope that you can sort of achieve that goal, that blending goal, and along the way grow. And you're pretty confident that you can do it. You don't mean to be a big downer. This is sort of a positive step forward and just sort of an outreach toward your audience that more effort is going to be made. Not necessarily the hugest strides. You're still not super confident in a lot of the tools of what makes the greatest content creators out in the world out there. But you're going to try what you do. You're trying to make what you make the best that you can make it, if that makes any sense. And you are fortunate. Need to reiterate that. You need to realize that very fortunate, you have a roof above your head. You have people that are enjoying what you're making. There are individuals who struggle, and you don't have those struggles currently. It could be way worse. It could always be worse, and trying to remind yourself of that. And in some ways, you're a much better person than you think you are. And you're definitely a better person than who you think you used to be. And you're pretty good at recognizing the reality versus, what's necessarily going on in your head. And so, this is an adventure that you're going to delve into. You're going to look into yourself, look at your audience, try to blend things into to be something to what you want to make and what you think other people will enjoy, and hopefully grow and hopefully become better, because these things matter to you more than a lot of people really probably know, and you want to have fun, and hopefully you could have a day where your work is fun. It's not this fun thing after work. It's not work made me so tired and so miserable that I couldn't do this thing. This thing, this art that you're trying to create, could become what you are. You could sort of become that art, hopefully. So, that's the adventure that we try to go for. And let's see if we can get there.